Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to go to C, the Sea of Dust. This is the remnants of an old empire that was destroyed in a reign of colorless fire 1,000 years ago, a little bit more than that. And what it is for your adventurers. This can be a great place to adventure. I've run a number of adventures in the Sea of Dust. The Forgotten City tends to be the focus of those missions. If you've read the Gord the Rogue novel, the fourth one, Sea of Death, that takes place primarily in the Sea of Dust and goes into a great deal of info about it. And today's information is going to come from the Ashes box set that was out in '92, and we're going to take a look at the Sea of Dust. So here's the Atlas of the Flanus, and let's take a look at the Sea of Dust. Sea of Dust, a territory of unknown extent exists west of the Hell Furnaces, south of the Salhut Mountains. This bleak desert is the Sea of Dust, the former empire of the Sul. This was once a fair and fertile realm extending 1,000 miles west and south. But its rulers were merciless and haughty, and the rain of colorless fire that Baklunish mages brought down upon it was a fitting fate for them, if not for their peoples. The terrible, nearly invisible, fiery rain killed every living thing it struck, ignited the landscape, and burned the hills to ash. To this day, the place is a desert, choked with dust and dry ash in gentle rises and shallow valleys that resemble waves in the ocean. It is far less picturesque when the winds howl and tear the surface into choking clouds that strip flesh from bone, making vision impossible and life hazardous in the extreme. Added to this are rains of volcanic ash and cinders blown down from the hell furnaces. Mountain tribesmen from the Salhuts sometimes scavenge the ruins of the old Sul cities along the northern rim of the Sea of Dust, but their pickings are meager after a millennium of pillage. If buried riches exist, they must lie within the central body of the Sea of Dust, a place so inhospitable that survival there is an achievement in itself. The handful of accounts that exist from researchers for the legendary Forgotten City of the Sulois remark on lakes of dust that are magically affected so that they have almost fluid qualities. These dunes of caustic white ash are so adverse to breathing that after an hour of inhaling without a wet cloth over the mouth, one coughs blood and suffers other strange symptoms. The travelers do not tell of great wealth, although they stress the perils of having to dive through layers of dust to explore any ruins below. There may be some underground springs below the Sea of Dust, as well as places where water tables have risen and seepage into the choked surface has occurred, for there are reports of life below the surface of this terrain. Huge tunneling worms, 20-foot insects that look like crosses between a mantis and a centipede, weird shambling fungi with surfaces hard as stone to prevent loss of water by evaporation, and chitin-beaked giant lizards with vast webbed feet that allow them to nearly to skim the surface of the dust. Rumors that harpies flock in old ruins and that degenerate remains of the Sul stock survive in some areas are, however, distinctly more implausible and are discounted by reliable and wise scholars. Ancient Sulois documents in Greyhawk mention a magical portal named the Null somewhere in the Sea of Dust, a place where a universal gate to all known planes. It is said to be guarded by golems, summoned extraplanar creatures, stone sphinxes that test the wisdom of those who would dare travel using its magic, and more. Now, I've never used that aspect of the magical portal in the Sea of Dust. I've never done that, but I have done several adventures in the Sea of Dust on the line of Sea of Death from Gord the Rogue, and it's a really dangerous place for your players, but a really fun place too. So if you're the DM and you want to throw your player characters off their game a little bit and put them into an area that they're just not comfortable, the Sea of Dust is definitely it. Now, my players did not make it to the Forgotten City, although I did do kind of a weirdo time travel kind of thing where they were in the Forgotten City, but that was back in the late 80s, just as kind of a one-off. I just had a goofy idea. We were playing about a 5-hour game, so I went ahead and ran that one. It was a lot of fun. It's nothing that I would run again, but it was a lot of fun. But this passage here is Slaratin's Tunnel. This is a mage of vast power who used his powers to carve out a tunnel magically that would allow the people following him to travel up into the rest of the Flanus, and that was part of the Great Migration of the Sul. and then the tunnel itself closed. Well, recently, in my Greyhawk world, it reopened in the Yeomanry, and I had players who were hired to explore it. That was a fun campaign. That went about 10 or 12 episodes. And the players got down there and found a cloaker city and all kinds of other stuff in Slaratin's tunnel. It's still very open, and the Yeomanry has had to put up, they have their dark gate right there, but they've had to support it with the castle to control the things that might come out of the tunnel, either from the Underdark or through the Sea of Dust. It's been a good place for adventures. I've had players playing in the Yeomanry for a while. It's just a lot of fun. But that's really all I've got to say about Sea of Dust right now. This is just a general overview of a place you could spend an entire campaign doing nothing but exploring, especially with the Forgotten City. In the Gord the Rogue novel by Gygax, we do have a race of degenerate Sul who have stayed in the Forbidden City. They've lived Forgotten City. They've lived underground and been just inbreeding to the point of just being degraded, but they're still menacing and they still follow some old traditions. We even actually have a Sul that was frozen magically who comes alive in the Gord the Rogue book, and Gord has to fight him and stuff. So it's really good. If you ever really want to get a flavor for this area, I do recommend Sea of Death by Gary Gygax, the fourth Gord the Rogue book. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. Let me know what you think. Have you ever used the Sea of Dust? It can be a great place to adventure, but be ready. You have to know a lot about D&D desert rules and things like that, but that's not hard to come by these days, especially these days. I was doing it back in the late 80s when there was a lot less information available and no internet. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you've done down in the Sea of Dust or any other places in the Flanus you'd like to see. Also, please take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. Let's keep growing the channel. That's it for today on page 121. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.